Even before Hurricanes Helene and Milton devastated Florida, many people have seen higher and higher property insurance rates, making homeowners insurance unaffordable for many. The legislature has had several special sessions to try to fix the problem, often adopting changes advocated by insurance companies. Lawrence Mower covers the issue of homeowners insurance. He's part of the Tampa Bay Times Miami Herald News Bureau in Tallahassee, and he joins us now. Lawrence, nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
So do we know yet what the total damage amount was from these two hurricanes here in Florida?
Not really. I mean, it's too early to say, really. There's been estimates out there that this will be in the tens of billions of dollars, anywhere from, I've seen estimates over $100 billion for this. It's really too early to say. My understanding is that some of the federal data that these estimates rely on has not come in yet. So the estimates might not be that great. But so far, it looks like, for Hurricane Milton, yes, it's going to be incredibly, there was a lot of damage, no doubt about it. But so far, it's looking like it might be about half the size of Hurricane Ian from a couple years ago. Okay,
and Ian was what? How big was Ian? How much damage?
Well, a lot. About 20 billion. As far as state data goes, it was about 20 billion, $21 billion in insured losses.
Yeah.
Right now, but it had 776,000 claims filed so far. For Milton, we're about at 190,000. By this point, Ian was about twice that.
Okay, so I guess everybody's worried that their insurance rates are going to go up. What do we know about? What are the insurance companies saying about raising rates?
Well, nothing yet about raising rates, but it is a very valid concern. So what I've been told and what I'm hearing is that the insurance companies are largely protected from the losses here. They buy reinsurance, basically insurance that insurance companies buy to cover these sorts of losses for hurricanes. So yeah, they're going to lose some money, no doubt about it. But most of that burden is going to be shifted onto these big reinsurance companies that kind of exist in Bermuda and stuff. And what that's going to do is they're going to undoubtedly raise their rates, what they're going to charge insurance companies. And in Florida, insurance companies are incredibly reliant on reinsurance. It's their biggest expense. So when the cost of reinsurance goes up, they're going to pass that on to policyholders. What that will look like, we won't really know until next year, probably. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair expectation the rates will go up.
So are you confident that everybody's claims will be paid? Because you reported earlier this year on a report that said that only about half the claims from last year's hurricanes were paid by the major insurance companies here in Florida.
Yeah, that is some troubling data that a group of analysts called Weiss Ratings released earlier this year, and we don't exactly know why. I mean, for some of these companies like State Farm, it was about like half of their claims were closed without payment. Now, why is that the case? One of the reasons could be because the damage from storms could be from flooding, and there's always this dispute after storms: is it covered by flood insurance or homeowners insurance? Homeowners insurance does not cover flooding. And that's a major problem for a lot of homeowners in Florida and certainly in the Carolinas right now. About 20% or less of Florida homeowners have flood insurance. And if you look at Helene, that was primarily a flooding event. Milton appears to be kind of a half flooding, half wind event. And so it's going to be, the tools that Floridians had to hold insurance companies accountable don't exist anymore. You have a shorter time to file a claim now. If you want to sue your insurance company, it's much harder. That's one of the changes the legislature made. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be something to watch.
So what about Citizens Insurance? Is the state-run Citizens Insurance companies it's solvent based on what we know now and in the aftermath of these two storms?
Yeah, technically it can't go insolvent because when all else fails, when they run out of money completely, they can bond and they can also assess Floridians to to basically pick up the tab. What they're telling me so far is they're going to be fine. They don't expect any assessments here. They also buy reinsurance ahead of storms, and they put in a pretty big order this year for reinsurance, and that should be okay. Another thing to note is that where Milton hit is a part of the state where there's a lot of homes that are built to the current hurricane codes. And what I'm hearing so far is that these homes did weather the storm fairly well. You did see a lot of wind damage on the east coast of Florida, Martin, St. Lucie counties, that area, from tornadoes, which that is definitely covered by your homeowner's insurance policy. But so far, I haven't seen a ton of figures yet that indicate that that Citizens is going to have to be, assessing anyone. They think they can cover it.
All right. Well, Lawrence Mower, thanks a lot for joining us.
Happy to be here.